It is a dilemma. Joe Daniher is such an exciting player, but has played only 11 games since, when was it, 2018?
18, yeah.
2018
Won the
now.
best and fairest 2017.
Yeah. Where does he go from here?
It was obviously a bit of a shock for everyone, Ed, because, we'll take, obviously, Johnny Worsfold spoke about how, he should be right for round 2. And first session back, he's not there in training, and suddenly we just don't know what he's going to do. So here's the timeline, Ross, of Joe Daniher and his history since he won that best and fairest in 2017. And obviously it came out on May 8, around this time 2 years ago, that he'll miss the next month with osteitis pubis, didn't play again. 2019 against your side, Ross, Fremantle at Marvel Stadium, pretty much 1 year ago today. Obviously at the end of the year he asked for a trade. It's really come as a huge surprise for Essendon. Goes in January for a visit to Ireland. He has this extra time, and then obviously in the last day he said that John Worsfold, that Daniher's a fair way off playing. There's his history, Ed, as you just touched on, 11 of the last 46 games. The Bombers have coped okay with him. That stats obviously says what it says, but they may be okay without him at times. But I still think after merit, he's the Bombers' best player. He probably is the best player at full strength, but he had a setback in the last 7 days. So that's the story there, that he's had a setback, and you know what happens with setbacks. They'll have to wait till that soreness is gone, Ross, and give him maybe another 6 weeks.
Lloyd, before Ross comes in, do we know what it is? Is it OP? Is it an exacerbated osteitis pubis?
Yeah.
Is it something worse? Is there a crack in his pelvis?
I don't know the specifics, sorry.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, well, further that, it's been 2 years of no football. So I'd just like to add in, Brendan Goddard, former captain of Essendon, one of the great preparers in the game, did whatever it took to give himself best opportunity to play well with no guarantee. I'd just like you to have a listen to these comments of his on Joe Daniher.
As much as the injuries affect him, I think he could have gone about it a better way with his rehab, and particularly the first time around. And at the time, I didn't think he dedicated himself hard enough to recovering and rehab and giving himself the best chance to get up and play and get himself right.
So, and what you're seeing there, that footage, that was at a huddle that I remembered, where he's really strong direction. But that would be the frustration, knowing, well, you're not delivering on game day, but I've seen you prepare. And that would be the frustration boiling over, because you're not preparing, you're not delivering as far as game day. It's a really fascinating story for mine.
What fascinated me was the change of language from the coach John Worsfold from April this year until now. Let's have a listen to that.
Joe might not have been available till round 5, 6, 7 or 8. Potentially he's going to be available for round 2. When I look at what Joe's doing at the moment, it's not enough to say that he'll be ready for round 2.
Well, that's him at training on Monday. Lloyd, take us into his mind if you can, or tell us about the type of play, because we always think of the Danihers, the laconic, hard Danihers. Terry Daniher trained and have a crown lager after a game with you. We know Neil Daniher, and of course, Chris and his father Anthony, just great players. So the Daniher family are just legendary. He's the city boy though. He's a different kid, isn't he?
He is different, but as I said, I got to do a year with Hurdy, and he's unstoppable. No Essendon defender could go with him in the air, at ground level. He's got absolutely everything. I can't speak for that. I know, I agree with what Brendan has said. He's got to work harder at times and all that sort of thing, but I've seen worse.
Well, he's got a great toolbox,
yes.
and he has delivered. So I think there's two narratives potentially here. I'd like to start with support with the player and think he's doing everything he can to get himself right. But at the end of the day, the medical team and conditioning team out there aren't able to get him right. And sometimes you've got to move that player on for his own welfare if you can't get him right. Yeah. But if you read between the lines, the other narrative is he's got all the toolbox, he's got the capabilities, but he's still maturing in his work rate. But he is 25, and when you sit down the other side of a desk and you ask for a big deal, and let's say it's $2 million over 3 years or north of that, you're sitting there saying, I'm going to do everything I can to give myself best chance in the team to play well. So if that's not the case, well, your manager walk back in and renegotiate and we'll treat you like a rookie.
Ross and Lloydie and Caro, in your experience, there's a big difference between being a member of a cast and being the star. We've seen it in Hollywood. The person whose name is on the marquee gets the big money, but they take all the responsibility. We've seen a lot of these young players, through their managers, get the big cheque and fall on their head. We've seen their careers fall over. Probably it starts with, in recent times, with Travis Cloke at Collingwood. And you look through, you see what happened with...
Tom Boyd.
Sorry?
Tommy Boyd.
Tommy Boyd was exactly
Travis
the one
Cloke played in a premiership though.
No, afterwards.
Yep.
He went to number one, got the big check, and he had issues after that because he wasn't. He had some injuries. All those things exacerbated. You just see guys, Caro, sometimes they're just not the person to be the marquee player. Matthew Lloyd, for example, he became the marquee player at Essendon through natural evolution. Scott Pendlebury, you've never heard of Scott Pendlebury having you wouldn't know what Scott Pendlebury is on at Collingwood other than you know that he should be getting paid what he's probably getting paid. But I'll just say sometimes when these kids are 23, 24, 25 and it's thrust upon them, it's great to get the check, but when the check comes and your name's on the marquee, so too does the pressure, and there's a lot of things come on top of it.
And this is maybe why, Ross, I mean, is it your understanding that he was the one who made the first move to Sydney? I mean, that's
my understanding from Sydney Associates because you're curious about the deal, and they said, no, the approach came, now they might be watering it down, but the approach came more from Joe, and we're interested, but we're not going to sell the farm to get you.
And it changed from the start of the trade period to the end. Did you feel that?
Yeah, like their shift in so what sometimes things going to unearth that as you go through the deal, it actually pulls you up a little bit, potentially.
I agreed with Essendon keeping him. I'll just say that. I agree with him because after Joe Daniher, he's far and away better than the next. But what it's given Essendon, even if he doesn't play, gives them 12 months, if Joe wants to leave, to land a big fish, which it come as a shock to the Bombers when he asked for that trade. I think now they've got 12 months. They probably should be in the blokes already.
Would they get the first round and potential future first round for him next time?
They won't, but that was all rumoured. Pick 9 was on the table, and Sydney didn't have pick 9 at that stage. They were waiting on Tom Papley. So I think Essendon should be going hard, not banking on Joe being there next year and landing. Cameron might be a starting point. If it's not Jeremy Cameron, we'll plan B, plan C to land.
I'm certain he'll stay.
That's right, but I'm saying that's where you start. And you work down from there.
And did he lose faith in the medical team? I mean, that was the other suggestion, that he wanted to go to Sydney because he had more. He thought it might be better for him there.
I think that's really relevant, and they've got a history, a bit like Hawthorn with Burgoyne. Port Adelaide, my understanding, wrote Sean Burgoyne off, and he's a giant of the game now. So, and they get it right. Amira's being rehabbed. So there are some clubs that had success at the minute. Harley Bennell at Melbourne is going really well. So sometimes you've got to move. And osteitis pubis is a nasty, nasty injury.
And that really, it drags you down. You can't sleep, you can't run, you drag your leg, you look like you're okay. And people looking and go, well, what's wrong with this guy? He's getting paid $800,000, he's 6'5", he's a Daniher. Why isn't he playing? He can't jump. Can't run.
And when you're talking about we have to rebuild him, that concerns me.
Yeah, huge.
Well, good luck, because we think the world of you, mate. Joe, you're a superstar of the game. We want you to be playing out there. We want you feeling good about yourself. Let's hope it comes in the back half of this year.